Vale Church. We're so glad you're here at the 3 o'clock service. Would you stand with us today? We're going to start by singing some songs out together.
Hey, what's up, Vale? My name is Nolan Recker, and I serve as one of the pastors on our online church team. We are so glad you are tuning in and joining hundreds of others from around the world watching Vale Church Online. If you're new with us or have never visited one of our locations in Central Illinois, welcome. You could be watching something else, but you decided to go to church from wherever it is you are currently sitting, so thank you. We would like to connect with you. This will be hard to do, though, if we don't know anything about you. There are a couple ways that you can tell us about yourself. First, you can click the button New Here, located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can also text the word online to 309-777-0677. I will personally reach out to you within the next couple days. So you know, whenever we make a new connection, we'll make a donation in your name to one of our ministry partners. So simply by watching and connecting with us, you've already made a positive impact on someone else's life. You can connect with us at any time during the broadcast. By being online, you have the unique opportunity to engage with the service by chatting with others. We have a team of people available to talk about the service with you. If you want prayer, we have a team of people available to pray with you in real time. You may not be able to join us in person, but we are doing what we can to be here for you. If you call Vale Church home, then you know that one of our core values is to give generously. We also know not everyone new to watching Vale Church Online believes what we believe, and that is okay. The broadcast is our gift to you. If you've been blessed by Vale Church and want to invest in the ongoing ministry of furthering the kingdom online, there are a few ways we have provided for you to stay faithful. At any time, you can click the Give button in the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can text Vale to 77977, or you can access the giving section inside the Vale Church app to set up a one-time or reoccurring gift. If you have any questions, you can email me at nrecker@vale.church. On any given week, there are almost 1,000 of you joining us online. That's awesome. But let me ask you this. Do you know anyone in your area that you think would be looking to join in on an experience like this? We would love to talk to you about how to become a host home for Church Online. It's a unique opportunity to build community and invite others to be a part of what God is doing through Vale Church. I'm here to help you get more connected into intentional community, either through online groups or with other people in your area. If you call Vale Church Online your church home, then let me know. I would love to connect with you and hear your story. As I hear from more of you, I'll be able to connect you with others in your area. The message is about to begin, but be sure to stay tuned after to hear more about opportunities to get connected with Vale and learn about your next steps.
Hey everyone, my name is Jenny and I serve with our Vale Youth Team. We are so glad you're spending a part of your weekend with us today. Our goal this summer is to make more room on Sunday mornings by having people make the move to Saturday services. For every person that moves to Saturday, there is more space for first-time guests to encounter Jesus on Sundays. For those of you who regularly attend on Sunday mornings, we're asking you to please prayerfully consider trying out and potentially moving to a Saturday service. Aside from the perk of sleeping in, we are also launching Summer Nights. Summer Nights will take place on the second and fourth Saturday of every month, beginning next weekend, July 13th. Activities will begin immediately after the 3 and 5 p.m. services and will include inflatables, food trucks, giveaways, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on Saturday services this summer at Vale. If you have children who are upcoming kindergartners through 4th grade, they will not want to miss this year's Camp Out. This program is an exciting 5-day summer day camp sponsored by Camp Kanakuk and Vale Church. It will be led by young adult counselors and take place right here at Vale Church. The days will be filled with Bible studies, water inflatables, zip lines, and other camp activities. Camp Out is from July 15th through the 19th, and the cost is $260 per child. You can sign up on our website or through our Vale Church app today. This summer, we have 2 mission trips headed to Jamaica, and they need our help. They are looking for donations such as first aid supplies, cleaning items, school supplies, and more. Swing by the Information Center today to get a full list of necessary items. You can bring in donated items anytime during our office hours and leave them at the Information Center. Thank you for your continued generosity. And lastly, it takes an entire army of volunteers to make the weekend service run smoothly here at Vail. Whether it's greeting guests with a smile, programming lights, or teaching kids, we would love for you to join one of our serving teams. Simply fill out the My Next Step card in the seat back pocket in front of you and drop it off at the Information Center on your way out. Someone from our team will reach out to you this week. Well, that's it for us. Enjoy the rest of the service.
Well, hello, 3 o'clock service. What is going on, Vail Church? Can you all do me a favor really quick and put our hands together and welcome in those joining online and watching from all over the country. So glad you are here. Well, if you are brand new today, my name is Chris Torres, and I serve on staff as our Bloomington location pastor and one of our teaching pastors. And we have been in a 7-week series. We are in week 6 of a series called, 7. We're looking at the 7 churches in the book of Revelation, chapters 2 and 3. John pins a letter under the inspiration through a vision of Jesus, and these are Jesus's words speaking to these 7 churches. And so we've started way back with Ephesus, and I know I kind of walked you through some of it, but I want to show you a map. Is there any visual people in the house? Visual learners? Yeah, yay, you're all like me. So I want to show you guys a quick look at what this would have looked like. Go ahead and pull this up. So the letter would have traveled starting here in Ephesus, and it would have made its way up to Smyrna, and then around. It kind of made a little bit of a horseshoe, and as we followed it, you can kind of even see some of the things that were going on in the church. Today we are in the 6th church, and that is the Church of Philadelphia, and this was the faithful church. In fact, this is the only church that God doesn't reprimand. God says nothing wrong about this church. In fact, all they get is Jesus' praise, and he commends them for the wonderful job they are doing. And so this is an awesome, awesome church. And so this is what we're going to look at today, is the Church of Philadelphia. And they were the faithful church. And now I remember when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of talent. I couldn't sing, although I sang all the time in the shower. I still do in the shower and on my lawnmower. It's weird though, like people make fun of me because I sing in the shower. It's at the gym, but still. I played sports, but I wasn't really like that good. Like I was tall, I was awkward, I was really skinny, so like big people could push me around. So like I wasn't great at sports. Academically, I wasn't good academically. I just didn't have like a lot of talent, a lot of skill. And because I didn't have a lot of talent and a lot of skill, I didn't have a lot of hobbies. There wasn't much that I liked to do. And I kind of just roamed around, and wherever anybody would go, whenever anybody would open any door, I would just simply follow them. And it ended up getting my life in a lot of trouble at one point. But when I was 23 years old, here's where it really, really got to me. Because I was 23 years old, I gave my life to Jesus, and I was passionate about Jesus. I loved God, I loved the church, I loved his people, and I knew that I wanted to do something big for Jesus, but I didn't have any talent. And I didn't have anything that like I thought that I could offer. I was like, God, I could look at this dude and I could see, well, he speaks good. And this person, they're great with people. And these people, they can run sound and lights and audio and all of this stuff. God, what am I going to give? What do I have to offer? And it was really hard for me. It was really, really hard for me because I felt the same way that I felt my whole life. Like I didn't have enough to give to God. And I struggled with that. So I want to read to you 2 verses that I came across as I was new to faith that helped me with this. And the first one is in the book of Romans. And Romans is a very theological book. Romans is it really explains the Christian walk and the Christian faith and the Christian God. And so I came across this verse. And so if you have ever struggled with feeling like you don't know where you fit in with God, or feeling like you don't know what you have to offer the church, I want you to listen to these two verses, and I want to walk you through kind of my process in dealing with this. Romans 1:17 says this. It says, the good news, that's the story of Jesus, that's the gospel. The good news tells us how God makes us right in his sight. This is accomplished from start to finish by faith. As the scriptures say, it is through faith that a person has life. So I don't know if you know this, but your walk with Jesus is predicated on faith. Everything you do for the church, to live right, to get into heaven, all of that depends on faith. So I said, okay. And this is the verse that really got me. It was in Hebrews, because this is what I was wrestling with. So the question was, God, what can I do to please you? What can I give when I feel like I don't have anything to give? And this was the answer. Hebrews 11:6, it says this, and it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that God exists and that he rewards those who sincerely seek him. So let me help you understand this. If your faith, or if your walk with Jesus is predicated on faith, and the only way to please God depends on your faith. Faith in believing that his son is who he was and that you are sincerely seeking him. I realized that I might not have a lot of talent, that I might not have a lot of gifts or skills or brains, but there was one thing I could do. I could have faith and I could be faithful. I said, God, there's not a whole lot I could do, but I could do this. When your word says to forgive, I can forgive. When your word says to give, I can give. When your word says to love, I can love. Because I don't need a bunch of skill in order to be faithful. And this is the Church of Philadelphia. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the church before we read the letter. The Church of Philadelphia is much like the Church of Smyrna. So that was week number 2, persecuted. They were rejected. They were excluded by Jewish members of the church. They were kicked out of the synagogues because of their faith, and they weren't allowed back in. And because of this, Jesus sees what is going on in this church, and he rewards this church for being faithful. So let's look at what he writes to the Church of Philadelphia. And we'll just kind of go line by line with this instead of reading all the way through, and we'll just work our way through it. So verse 7. Chapter 3, Revelation chapter 3, verse 7 says this. To the angel of the church of Philadelphia write, these are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. Let's stop there. So it says, key of David. Key of David. When his listeners, when his readers would have read this, they would have drawn up a picture of a passage in Isaiah, of an Old Testament prophet, when he was writing about what was going on in that time under the reign of King Hezekiah. They would have connected this almost immediately the moment he said the keys of David. Because the keys of David, what was happening in Isaiah chapter 22, you can go read it. I didn't bring it here for you, but you can go read it. Is there was King Hezekiah was ruling, and he was going to give the keys, which meant his authority and all of his leadership and rights to the kingdom to one of his servants, and the servants were to fall in order. There was Shebna first, and then Eliakim second. And so in this particular order, Shebna was supposed to receive the keys, but Shebna was unfaithful. And so Shebna doesn't get the keys. And King Hezekiah, as he's making this statement about who he's going to give the keys to to the rights to all of his kingdom, to access to the treasury, to all of the doors in his kingdom, he says, I am going to give it to Eliakim because Eliakim was faithful. And he will be able to open up any door. And every door he opens, no one can shut. Because when the king opens a door, no one can shut it. What he is alluding to here is a knock against the Jewish people. He's saying you were in order to receive the keys to my kingdom, but you were unfaithful. And because you were unfaithful, I am going to go to the people that were faithful. And I am going to give them the keys to my house, the keys to my kingdom. And I am going to open up a door for them that no one can shut. And listen, I want you to understand something. Maybe you've been in church for just a few days, or maybe you've grown up in church your whole life. I want to remind you of something very, very important here today. When God opens a door, no one can shut it. When God opens a door in your life, there's no one that can shut it. When God puts a ministry in your heart, when God puts a passion for kids, when God says, I want to use your voice, when God says, I want to use your brain, when God says, I want to make you a beacon of light, of hope to people that are poor, that are broken, that are marginalized, there is nobody that can stop it. There is no one that can stop the dream that God has put inside of your life. When God opens up a door, there will be no one that can close it. Let's go to the next verse. Verse 9, or verse 8. It says, I know your deeds. Isn't that good that Jesus is watching us? You ever wonder what Jesus is interested about? Apparently it's faithfulness. Because this church was the faithful one. And side note, they actually outlived all the other churches by almost 1,000 years. This one church did. One church out of 7 churches was known as the faithful church. And he says, I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. So here's what I want you to notice. He says, I have placed before you. See, when God opens a door, it's going to be in front of you. And this is good news because some of us, there are a lot of things that have happened in the past that might have disqualified us, or we might feel like we've missed the boat. Some of us are getting older. I'm not going to look at anybody. But some of us are getting older, and you might have felt like you missed the wind. Like, have you ever heard that? I missed my window of opportunity. You ever heard that? That doesn't happen for those who are faithful with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ puts a door in front of you. He puts a door coming up. Your best days are not behind you, they're in front of you. God's going to open up a door for you to do something big. I don't care whether you're 70 years old. God's got something for you. I don't care if you made a bunch of mistakes. If you're young, for some of us who are young, we made a lot of mistakes and we think, well, man, I blew my shot. God will put a door in front of you if you just start being faithful. God will open a door, and where he'll open that door is always going to be in front of you. It's ahead of you. And then notice this. He says this. He says, I know that you have little strength. Little strength. See, the people in the church of Smyrna, or the church of Philadelphia, they weren't pretty. They weren't rich. They weren't powerful. They were kicked out of the synagogues and they were barely hanging on. And this is good news because there's some of us who've walked into church today and we're barely hanging on. You've got little strength left. You feel like you've got nothing left in the gas tank. You've just been given and given and given. And God, when is it going to ever stop? When am I going to get a break? Jesus says, I know you have little strength, but you have obeyed my word. You've listened to every word I have. And here's the deal. When it comes to a commitment with Jesus, the church of Philadelphia did not allow their condition to determine their commitment. In fact, if you're writing notes, write this down. Condition does not determine commitment. And you see, that is not how culture would define that. See, in today's world, culture would define commitment based on what's pretty, on what's perfect, on what's working. And if there's any bumps or hiccups in the road, then you can just walk away. It's no longer a commitment. But that's not how Christ would define it. Commitment today is a lot like my golf game. Don't you laugh. Whenever I golf, when I tee the ball up, I have one commitment. I'm committed to getting that ball in a little tiny hole at the end of this course, or at the end of this, whatever it's called. Whatever. You're like, no wonder you're not good. I'm committed to getting the ball in this cup. That's it. That's my one commitment every time I tee off. And every time I tee off, the weirdest thing happens. Because I will hit the ball perfectly. Every time. My stroke is perfect. My follow through is perfect. But something happens to the ball when it gets in the air. Because it goes like this. And I don't know if like the Earth's axis is tilted or where we're aligned on the equator. I don't know what that's like, but I know it's not my fault. That's what I say about all the problems in my life. But the ball will go like this, and it'll land where it's not supposed to land. And it might be in the weeds, it might be behind some trees. And whenever it lands where it's not supposed to land, my commitment all of a sudden has changed to trying to play out of my condition. I'm no longer focused on getting the ball in the hole. I'm focused on getting out of the area in which I lay. And a lot of us have done this with our Christian walk. We forgot about the commitment of being faithful to Christ because we're more focused on getting ourselves out of the condition in which our lives are laying in. This is good, man. Y'all are awake today? We start chipping away, and it's like, man, I got to get out of this hole, and I did this to my life, and financially, if I could just get, And our commitment changes. And one time I was like, I ended up, it was on a Highlands course. I ended up like 9 feet behind a tree. The tree was 9 feet in front of me, and then the pin was like another 200 yards in front of that. And I said, I'm not going to play that game. This is stupid and it's reckless, so I'm going to do this. So I went, got my 3-wood, and I stepped up on the ball, and this tree, no joke, 9 feet in front of me. And I'm like, if I can just get 4 inches to the right of this tree, I will be fine. I'm by myself, thank God. And so I step up with full confidence that I'm going to be, well, I was a little hesitant. But I step up and I swing. Whack! And it was like the moment I made contact with the ball, it was like slow motion. It was like, and no joke, like I was like watching it come back at me. And I was like, oh my God. And so I put my hand up like this, and it smacks my hand, and my hand immediately swells, and I'm like diving out of the way at this point, and I go stumbling, rolling into some bushes, and there's some dudes standing there behind me just busting up laughing. I didn't even know they were watching me. But here's what I was doing. I was playing towards my commitment. And here's what's funny, is in the kingdom, God says when he opens up a door, there ain't gonna be any trees in the way. You don't got to worry about your condition. All you got to do is worry about being faithful to me, because I'm going to move everything that needs to move, because when I open up a door, no one's going to be able to shut it. So you be faithful. You just step up and you swing away from me, because once I open a door, no one's going to be able to shut it. And listen, this is what we need in the church, man. We need some more Christians that'll be more faithful with God, not worried about their condition. Because I see so many people in the church worried about their condition, trying to change their condition before they make a commitment. Some of y'all, it's with baptism. You know God has called you to be baptized, but your condition is not right. Whether it's the state in which you live in, You're partying, you're making a bunch of bad decisions. You're like, one day once this ends, then I'll do it. Or you're waiting for people to get in town so they can watch you, and you're pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. You're waiting on something, on your condition to change. Maybe it's getting in community for you and you're waiting on more time. How has that worked out? Has that ever popped up? I've been waiting on more time for the last 15 years and I haven't got it yet. For some of you to start giving, I'm not trying to step on your toes right now. And if I do, it's because your toes are in the way. I'm just kidding. Some of y'all, God has called you to give, but you're like, my condition. Once my condition changes. And when it comes to money, every time I've said I'm going to do something once I make more money, I spend that money before I'm ever able to do the thing that I said I was going to do with it. And that might just be a me thing, but I feel like a lot of us will do that too. Some of y'all have been waiting on salvation, saying once I get my life together, once I figure it out, once a pastor can come up and answer these questions good enough for me, or once they say all the things that I need to say to check off my list to say that I'm in agreement with them, then I'll do it. And if you're waiting for your condition to change to make a commitment, I want to tell you, you've got it backwards. Your commitment should be the thing that changes your condition. It might not change the condition of your world currently, but it'll change the condition of your heart. And when the condition of your heart changes, God's able to open up a door in your life that no one will be able to shut. Listen to 2 Corinthians 6:2. It says this, for God says at just the right time I heard you. On the day of salvation, I helped you. Indeed, say this with me, right time is now. Today is the day of salvation. You know, I didn't tell you this, but when I was wrestling with that whole talent thing, I said, God, if you are calling me and you're asking, could I be faithful today? My answer to you is yes, I will. Can you all say that with me? Yes, I will. Say it again. It sounded good. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I will be faithful. And if you're waiting on something to change, here's what I'm telling you. Your answer today should be, yes, I will. Whatever it is, if it's serving, if it's sharing your story or sharing with your neighbor about Christ, if God has called you to do something, the answer shouldn't be once my condition has changed. It should be, I'll make the commitment today. God, yes, I will. Yes, I will. Let's go to verse 9. I'm running out of time. I do this a lot. I will make those who are in the synagogue of Satan. So see, this sounds a lot like the church of Smyrna, right? This is the way he was talking to the church of Smyrna for same reasons. Who claim to be Jews, though they are not, but are liars. We talked about that before. And I will make them come and fall down at your feet and acknowledge that I have loved you. This is, again, old prophet stuff or Old Testament stuff that he's referencing when God said that he's going to make the Jews bow down to all the nations. He says this, since you have kept my command to endure patiently, I will also keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come on you and the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth. This, side note, pre-tribulation, if you believe in that. This is a very important verse because this is saying that God will spare you from that time. I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take your crown. I want you to underline this part or highlight it. Hold on to what you have. Here's what he tells the church. He says, you've been faithful. You've been faithful. I've asked you to obey my word and you've listened. I've asked you to love each other, and you've listened. I've asked you to give and you've given despite your condition. But here's the thing, it's not over yet. You still have to hold on. There's still going to be a battle. And here's what it is that no one will take. Here's why you have to hold on, so that no one will take it. You know, whenever you have something valuable, there will always be someone or something that tries to steal it from you. If you don't believe me, the next time you go on vacation, leave your garage doors up, your front and your back door open, and all of your jewelry and credit card out on your tables. I watched Despicable Me. And they're always after the diamond or the moon or whatever it is. But wherever there's a treasure, there's always going to be someone or something that tries to steal it because it's valuable. And I'm telling you that if you call yourself a Christian in here today, the most valuable possession you have is your ability to be faithful and to have faith in Jesus Christ. And people will try to steal that from you. There will be things that come in your life that try to test it, so you got to hold on to it. Because your relationships are going to test your faithfulness to Jesus. Hello, I'm talking to somebody tonight. Where you work is going to test your faithfulness. Your kids are going to test your faithfulness. Your paychecks will test your faithfulness. Peer pressure will test your faithfulness. Culture is going to test your faithfulness. But the answer should always be, yes, I will, God. Hold on to that. As then he says this, and we'll close with this. Go ahead and pull up that next verse. The one who is victorious, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God. Never again will they leave it. I will write on them the name of my God and the name of the city of my God and the new Jerusalem, which is coming down out of heaven from my God. And I will also write on them my new name. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Pull that verse back up. Here's what I want to show you. God said, to those that hold on, I will make them a pillar. I will make them a pillar. I want you to understand the sequence here. I want to show you guys a sequence in this passage because the way this is laid out is kind of cool. God says to this church that when you're faithful, I will open a door. Here's what I'm telling you today, that if you are faithful, let's show them the sequence. When you are faithful, God will open a door. That's what I'm telling you tonight. And some of y'all need to hear it. When you're faithful, God will open a door for you. Just be faithful. You don't got to be talented. You don't got to be pretty. You don't got to have a big bank account. He just needs you to be faithful. And God will open a door. But watch this now. Watch this. And when you remain faithful, God makes us pillars. Now I want you to understand something. When he would have mentioned pillars, everybody in that city in a first century church would have understood exactly what that meant. Because maybe you've seen what buildings looked like back then, but let me tell you, the beautiful ones had big giant pillars in front of the buildings. And the pillars were meant to make the temple look beautiful. And here's why, because in a city where temple worship is common, you got to have the best looking place if you want people to come in. It's like you're walking down Vegas and you're looking at the Strip and you're looking at all these hotels. You're going to go on the one that you think looks the coolest. So they got these big pillars that are beautiful, that are supposed to be there to be the first thing people see to represent what is inside the building. And here's what God is saying to his church. He's saying, I want to make you a pillar. I want to make you something that is the first thing people see that represents me. And to become a pillar, you have to be faithful. Because the temple that's behind me isn't pretty. The life Jesus lived wasn't pretty. Let me read to you what Philippians 2 says about Jesus. It says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ. This is the mindset of Jesus, if you care to know. He says, who, being in the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God as something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing. Nothing. Is nothing beautiful? By taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness and being found in the appearance as a man, he humbled himself. And he became obedient to death, even death on a cross. Now pause for just a second. This is a picture of the temple of God. It's a humble temple. It's a temple full of servants. It's a temple full of obedient people. It's full of people that consider themselves to be nothing when lined up and measured with other people. That means people who aren't proud. God says, this is what represents me. And when you represent me, watch what happens. Go to the next verse. Therefore, God exalted him. God will exalt you when you are faithful. You don't need to be begging for attention, so stop it. God says he sees you to the highest places, and he gave him a name that is above every name. That at that name of Jesus, every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under earth, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. We don't need a church full of perfect people. We don't need a church full of people that like to perform. We need a church full of pillars. A church full of pillars, people that will be faithful. Regardless of their situation, regardless of their condition, don't matter what your bank account looks like, doesn't matter what your mental health or your stress level looks like, doesn't matter what your family is going through, or how people at work are treating you, or what kids are saying about you at school. The answer just needs to be, yes, I will. Listen, I remember telling God that I didn't know what I had to give you. I don't know. I don't got any titles. I don't got any skills. I don't got any talent. And God says, I don't need you to have talent, because I'm about to open up a door and I'm going to give you a microphone. But once I give you a microphone, I need you to remain faithful. I need you to be a pillar to me and not become proud, but stay humble. I need you to be a servant. I need you to consider yourself nothing. And listen, yes, I will. My same answer back then, yes, I will, is the same answer I got today. God, yes, I will. Whatever it is, yes, I will. I can be faithful. I made the decision back then. I can still do it today. Some of y'all can too, and here's the good news. God doesn't make pillars out of beautiful things. He makes pillars out of broken things. God doesn't make a pillar out of the distinguished. He makes it out of the dirty. He doesn't make it out of the proud. He makes it out of the humble. So listen, what's your answer today? Today, right now. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the time to decide to be baptized. Now is the time to get in community. Now is the time to make up with your wife or your husband. Now is the time to start honoring God in your relationship with your kids and teaching your kids about Christ. Not when your conditions get met. Today. God isn't looking for beautiful. He's not looking for talented. He's looking for faithful. That's it. Faithful people are the people that Jesus recognizes and the people that Jesus commends. And Vail Church, I'm asking you today, if God is calling you to be faithful, let your answer be, yes, God, I will. Let's pray. Jesus, if there's anybody in here today that's been waiting on the right conditions in their life to make you the Lord of it, I pray that answer would be, yes, I will today. Not waiting on conditions to change, but allowing our commitment to change our condition. For all of us in here, God, that's been wrestling with the question, what can I do to please you? What can I do to make you happy? How can I get started with this walk? Maybe you've been far away from God and God has brought you back and you're like, I don't even know what to do. Just be faithful. Yes, I will. Whatever the question is, yes, I will. I'm done waiting on everything else in life. Yes, I will be faithful today. God, I pray that people would pray that prayer. God, we ask you to come in and change the lives of those who've asked you in their hearts for the very first time. And God, I ask for courage and the ability to say, yes, I will, to everything that you have called me to do. And for all of us in here, I pray the same prayer. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Would y'all stand and sing this worship song?
In the house today. Oh, we might not be all that, but we can be faithful. We can say, yes, I will. Amen. Let's sing this out with me. I count on one thing. The same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now. The way the same God who's never late.
Hey church, we hope you had an awesome experience. If you made a first-time decision to put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, We all want to celebrate that with you. We want to come alongside you and journey with you as you learn what life looks like following Jesus. Let us know by clicking the My Next Step button and tell us what step you're taking. Whether it's to follow Jesus, join a Vail group, register for Rooted, or visit one of our locations in person, we want to help you out in any way possible. Thanks for tuning in for Vail Church Online. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.